Have you ever tried to build a giant tower out of toy blocks, but instead of putting it on the floor, you tried to build it on top of a soft, squishy pillow? It might work for the first few blocks, but pretty soon the pillow shifts, the base wobbles, and the whole thing comes crashing down. Building a good, safe life works the exact same way. If you want a structure to last, it has to start with a solid, flat, and reliable base to stand on. Without that strong foundation underneath, it doesn't matter how tall or beautiful the tower looks on the outside. Eventually, the entire thing falls apart. Thousands of years ago, the ancient city of Jerusalem had a similar problem. In the biblical book of Isaiah, chapters 28 and 29, describe a city that was building its future on very shaky ground. The leaders in charge were full of pride. They thought they had made clever deals to protect themselves from danger, but they were actually building their safety on lies, which is exactly like trying to build a heavy fortress on a squishy pillow. They had become experts at pretending. They would say all the right things with their lips to sound like they loved God, but on the inside, their hearts were entirely far away. They treated their faith like a mindless checklist. They just followed a series of rules like robots. Do this, do that, a rule for this, a rule for that, without any real love or honesty behind it. God sees right through that kind of act. He knows that treating him like a pretend friend creates a fake faith, and a fake faith is a dangerous foundation that offers zero protection when real trouble arrives. And according to Isaiah, trouble was definitely arriving. A massive storm of hardship was coming to test exactly what kind of foundation everyone had built. When a fierce, heavy rainstorm sweeps in, a flimsy structure resting on loose ground simply gets washed away. But God loves his people too much to leave them unprotected. To save them from the storm, he promises to give them something entirely new, a perfect, unbreakable rock. He calls it a precious cornerstone. In building, a cornerstone is the very first, strongest, and most critical rock placed at the base of a new structure. Every other stone aligns to it. Because it is completely tested and proven, God's cornerstone is the only foundation in the world that will never, ever wash away when the heavy rains hit. God doesn't just lay the stone and walk away. He acts as a master builder, using very specific tools to make sure the walls growing from that stone are perfectly straight and true. First, he uses a measuring line of justice. It acts like a glowing ruler stretching from the cornerstone, ensuring everything is fair. Then he adds a plumb line of righteousness. A vertical string with a weight drops down, guaranteeing the building stands perfectly tall. To keep his people safe, God promised to place this perfect, tested cornerstone specifically in Mount Zion, right there in Jerusalem. When you combine that solid rock with absolute justice and pure righteousness, the resulting structure is entirely safe, completely fair, and totally unbreakable. Moving into chapter 29, the book of Isaiah describes the incredible results of having this new foundation. Because of it, God is going to fix the things that are broken. Look closely at this photograph of ancient scroll fragments. Isaiah promises an amazing miracle. People who have been entirely deaf will suddenly be able to hear the holy words written on documents just like these. He also promises that those who are blind will finally have their eyes opened. They will be able to see clearly, stepping right out of the dark. This healing reaches the earth itself. These massive, old cedar trees in Lebanon show us the thick, tangled forests that God says will become open, fertile fields where crops can grow. This foundation is the starting point for everything broken to be made right. It results in healing for the senses, health for the land, and a lasting joy for those who come to him with a humble heart. Which brings us right back to the leaders of that wobbly city. God doesn't want followers who just go through the motions. He has no interest in pretend friends or mindless robots checking off rules. What he actually wants is our whole hearts. He wants real honesty and genuine trust in his perfectly wise plan. Instead of balancing our lives on a squishy pillow, we get to be like a child carefully placing a secure block onto an immovable stone. When we truly give God our hearts, we are building our lives directly on his perfect cornerstone, ensuring we are safe, secure, and completely held together, no matter what happens.